Welcome you to our concert tonight. It's always fun to kick off the winter concert season with our band concerts, and we have a lot of really fun music planned for you. The next two selections lead us a little bit more into the holiday spirit. The first one gives us an opportunity to play more independently, which is one of the things that we do during 6th grade. We have a melody that kind of weaves in and out of lots of different groups of instruments, and you don't always all play the same notes at the same time. And then our last selection for you tonight, I'm sure you recognize probably all of those holiday traditional songs that you like. So from the 6th grade band, we thank you for coming, and we hope you enjoy our last two selections.
81. The number of students you see on stage here tonight. It's the largest junior high band I've had in many years, and that is a testament to you and to Mrs. Forster, of course. So thank you very much for that, parents, and your support. The first piece you heard was called Aggressivo, aptly named for this aggressive rhythm that we kept hearing, this driving rhythm that we heard, along with this kind of tricky and mysterious melody all the way through. This kept coming back to this driving, pulsing rhythm. The next piece is quite different. The composer, Ralph Hultgren, was at a conference, and somebody said to him, "Why aren't there more slow, beautiful pieces in three-quarter time, or 3/4 time?" And he said, "I don't know." And so his colleague said, "Well, why don't you write one then?" And he said, "Okay." He said, "Except we need to write it for a young band, because they don't get a lot of that slow, pretty music that we call. A lot of times they want to hear the fast, and they want to have their drums pounding, like you'll hear a lot of tonight. But this exposes a different skill level of playing this sort of sensitive and very smooth and slow music. So this is aptly named Simple Song by Ralph Hultgren. Everybody loves a parade, including the jolly man himself, Santa Claus. So, what you will hear is, you may hear a few Christmas carols in here. You will hear a few Christmas carols. You'll recognize their melodies. But then you'll also hear bits and pieces of some traditional marches that you might hear from composers like John Philip Sousa. So therefore, this is a mixture of that. This is called Santa on Parade. After that, well, I'll get to that in a moment. How many of you were around in the 60s? A couple of you were. Believe it or not, I was not. My journey on this earth did not begin until 1971. So there you go. Although the kids think I'm like 80. That's okay. There was a group in the 60s, I can't remember the exact year, I think it was 62, maybe 64. Somebody can enlighten me, I should have looked it up and done my research. A group called the Kingsmen. And they took a fairly sort of well-known Jamaican folk song and added some chords to it, 3 to be exact, and turned it into a smash hit, a rock and roll hit that has endured in many different forms for the last several decades. And we're going to play our version of it for you tonight. We're switching Preston Wheelenberg over to bass guitar, and Dalia Gonzalez to drum set. Everybody has a part up here, but I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge my man Chaz on the cowbell as well. So, whoever thought 3 chords would be so much fun? To quote the movie Mr. Holland's Opus. This is Louie Louie. I almost forgot. In the original version that you may be familiar with, there is a kind of an iconic little guitar solo where they just kind of shred it. And tonight the shredding will be done by the trumpet section instead.
Mr. Speer. Go Jazz!
As your programs have already told you, this is the high school band. The first piece you heard was, in fact, Mrs. John Phillips Sousa's favorite march. If she had one, I guess. Apparently it was her favorite march, the Thunderer. The second piece you just heard is called Mountain Time, and it's actually two folk songs. Also forgive me if you're Gaelic and I pronounce this wrong. There's a setting of Wild Mountain Time and The Braes of Balketer. And it was commissioned by a band pull up my notes here. It was commissioned by a band out of Saratoga Springs, Utah. They had lost a student in a horrible way, and the director had approached the composer Samuel Hazo and asked him to write this tune in memory of the student. So it's a very moving work. Well, in the next year, the director that he composed it for went to the All-State gathering for the All-State Band in Utah, and he was unexpectedly called up to direct this piece again. So you can imagine what kind of an emotional moment that was for him. So that is the piece that we played for you. Next up, there's a famous opera called Carmen by Bizet. And even if I ask you if you've ever heard Carmen by Bizet and you go, no, you'll probably recognize the themes from the opera. Only what Mr. Standards has done is he's taken those operatic themes and mixed them with Christmas carols. So you're going to hear if a train of Christmas carols and a train of opera just kind of went and crashed, you'd get a Carmen Christmas. So here we go. You have been a most appreciative audience, and we appreciate that. Thank you very much. So before we leave tonight, and the weather is a little bit warmer, than it was last year at this time when I believe it was 10 below when we had this concert. But on behalf of the students behind me, we want to wish you a most joyous holiday season with friends and family and food. And although this isn't a Christmas tune per se, we're going to finish out with this tune. It was written sort of as a joke by Frank Kelly. Frank Kelly is a well-known band composer. Lots of wonderful pieces of music he's written for band. And he was just sitting at his piano one day, and he was kind of playing with this melody. It's an actual, from an old choral tune by Chester Harrison called Amen. For those of you that may have heard it, it's something like Amen. I know it because I sang the solo in high school. But he just kind of played around with the melody very loosely and kind of put it back and forth and turned it into kind of a jazzy thing. And it literally kind of resembles almost like a revival gathering, like a church that's got an old-time revival, and the preacher calls them all in, he gets them all excited, and they're dancing around, and at the end you have the big chorus and the hands are waving, and we kind of play it like that. So we're going to finish out tonight with this joyously wondrous tune, Amen by Frank Kelly. So thanks again for coming out tonight.